days we didn't get a break.
Hello everyone, Happy New Year and welcome to the ROKER Report Player Ratings Podcast. My name is Anthony Watterson. I'm joined by Niall Bromley. How we doing, mate?
I've just woken up, mate. To be honest, I've just had a nice 90 minutes sleep. I don't know about you, but I have just woken up. I feel fresh.
Spot on. And also player ratings experience of Malcolm Dugdale. How we doing, buddy?
I'm good. Obviously, good to have the football back on, but sort of not like that. But we'll get into that a bit more later on. But yeah, I'm well, and that's the main thing at these challenging times, isn't it? You know. But yeah, nice to have a chat with you boys again after a couple of weeks off.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get straight into it, why not? Sunderland have come off the back of a 0-0 draw away to Northampton Town. Not much has happened. Obviously, it's Sunderland's first game in 3 weeks, Niall, after the COVID outbreak. We didn't look match fit, did we? The players didn't particularly look match fit. Struggled on. We've got a draw. It's kind of, are we expecting any more than that, really?
Yeah, it's hard to criticise, isn't it? I think it would be very harsh to kind of slate the team after that because, like you say, they looked lethargic, didn't they? They looked not what they looked like, anywhere near what they looked like against Lincoln, which is what I would say was a fully fit Sunderland team. You know, they were nowhere near that level. They looked leggy all the way through. The organisation, everything was there, which is obviously a good thing. But, you know, to be honest, I think from the first sort of 10 minutes, you could see that there wasn't much energy in that team today. Really, it's half remarkable that they've ended up getting a point and keeping the clean sheet because it was, it's one of them. But like I just touched on, I find it very difficult to criticise because, you know, a lot of these players had COVID sort of 10 days ago. So we just weren't ourselves at all.
Yeah, just touching on that again, Mel. I mean, we don't know. We haven't been privy to who has actually had the disease or anything like that. But, you know, there's still, you know, Will Grigg out, George Dobson out. You know, even if with injury, we've got Denver Hume, Luke O'Neill, Carl McFadden. So there's still a lot of players missing from it. And we don't know how long we've been training this week or anything like that. But a lot of the players on the pitch today did look very leggy, didn't we? So it's a little bit of a worry considering we're missing another week next week with the Fleetwood game being off.
It is a bit of a worry, Ant, you're right, but it's also an opportunity because that means we've kind of got a week and a half maybe. It's the Papa John's Trophy game next, I think, isn't it? Which is probably midweek. You know, we've got a week and a half to try and, you know, get back into the groove. If you think about it, we were supposed to play Accrington on the 29th and the academy was supposed to reopen 2 days before that, but we had to cancel or defer the Accrington game. So even if you assume they resume training on kind of Wednesday or Thursday, they've had 2 days and half of them have still got a lung full of green stuff, you know what I mean? So it is 2 points dropped because we need to get our points average back up above 2 to have a chance of, you know, being in the top 2. Should we have expected much more? Possibly not. We didn't lose, and I think we probably would have lost that game with some of our prior managers at the helm who aren't as attacking minded as Johnson is. So yeah, it's a difficult balancing act having that period of downtime before this game and then to the next game. But I'm hopeful now that most of the squad are healthy, the next 10 days or whatever it is we've got, it can really get them drilled and get them fit and get them hungry, you know, because we need to pick these points up.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that. I think it's, you know, very, very difficult to, you know, really be too critical, although I want to be, you know, because it's another 2 points drop. But, you know, you just don't know how bad some of these players have had this. You know, it's affected in a lot more than sport, hasn't it? And, you know, the kind of priority is health and safety of the players. So, you know, we'll go into the game. So we had the first chance of the game through a free kick. Charlie Wyke probably should have done better from a free kick. Mal, really, really good ball over. Should be hitting the target there, you know, free header 6 yards out.
I agree, yeah. He had another chance in the second half as well, which I'm sure we'll come on to. But again, you know, rustiness. I'm not convinced by Charlie Wyke in the air, to be totally honest, you know, and I don't think he bosses aerial challenges as much as his reputation and his stature suggests he should. But yeah, he's got to put that on target. He's got to exercise the goalkeeper, and he didn't. And in a game of very few chances, and I'm not giving them excuses, but the pitch did look bloody bobbly as well. You know, it was pretty messy pitch. He's got to do something with that, and he didn't. So disappointing. But yeah, the minimum he's got to do is work the goalie a bit, and he didn't, unfortunately for them.
Yeah, it did look like now that was going to be our only way of scoring today. If the entirety was set pieces, wasn't it? Because we couldn't play our free flowing stuff that we showed against Lincoln. Probably down to the pitch, but also down to our final ball was pretty pathetic.
Yeah, mate, it looked like it. If we were going to win that game, it would have been the ball was just going to drop in the right place, wasn't it? It was going to be, I don't think it was going to be after a free flowing move, which we got into the final third after a lovely few passes and then put the ball in the back of an empty net. It was never going to be like that, was it? It was always, as you say, set piece or a lucky penalty or something like that to win that game because. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I just feel like I'm repeating myself because, like I just said before, there just wasn't enough energy in the lads today. But I do give them the benefit and the doubt on that, and it's as simple as that. I understand it. I see, like as you touched on, we don't actually know who's had the virus. We don't know who's been ill, but judging from that today, that was not a fully fit squad. And as Malc touched on, they probably started training on Wednesday. So yeah, that. As I said before, again, repeat myself, but I find it pretty impressive that they managed to come out of it with a point. But yeah, certainly if we were going to score, it was going to be from a set piece, something to just drop our way or a bit of magic. But unfortunately, the magic wasn't there today.
Yeah, I want to talk about the referee for a little bit. I mean, we kind of haven't really gone into League One standard refereeing this season because, to be honest, I think as a whole, the standards kind of improved this year from what I've seen. It hasn't been anywhere near as bad until today. So Lee Doughty, the referee, I mean, he books Charlie Wyke for, the goalkeeper blasting the ball out and hits Wyke in the back. Wyke gets a yellow card. Round about 5 minutes later, Josh Scone gets cleaned out on the halfway line, which is a really bad tackle. No booking, no nothing. I think Grant Levitt nearly gets booked for dissent. And then round about 5 minutes after that, Lee Burge clears the ball, from the goal kick out, hits their player. They nearly score from it. They tried to chip Lee Burge. It goes out for a goal kick, and the referee doesn't give anything. I mean, what on earth was going on there, Mal?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree that refs are better this year, and I think we've just seen a lot less games by now.
Possibly,
we haven't had as much chance to experience the shite, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He was inconsistent, and you've got to expect a little bit of that at this level. But when you've got two challengers very similar to each other, White's getting a yellow card and their attacker didn't get a yellow card, seemingly because he half ducked. He was still way too close to the goalie.
He knew what he was doing.
It's
he
ridiculous.
Knew exactly what he was doing.
And I'm just pleased, the lads didn't let it boil over because it's easy in frustrating situations like that. That people can get a bit lippy, and a couple of them, Scowen was already on a yellow. Obviously Wyke was, and the situation could have got quite ugly, but I'm not sure if there's any point really complaining about it because they're just going to be like that. They're just bloody awful.
Yeah.
And the ref has to kind of give a couple of things our way eventually, from a poor decision in our benefit or something. So yeah, but it's, for me, we've just played less football, so there's been less bollocks ref decisions. It's as simple as that.
It did give us a big, kind of a big turning point just towards the end of the first half when one of the lads ran through and got taken. Well, did he get taken down by Lee Burge or not? He got given a yellow card for diving. Now, did you think that was the correct decision?
Of course, Burge doesn't move. If you see, he's literally Burge. He doesn't move. He doesn't. He's standing still. He's ran past him and then fell over. Burge has got his hands in the air. That was always a dive. And if you looked at the forward, was it Adams? Might have been Adams. I don't know for them. It looked like, after he didn't complain to the referee, did he? He got his yellow card and sort of ran off. No. I think everybody knew that was a dive. It was the right decision. But as Malc says, we're right in the sense that we haven't seen them enough at all to kind of criticise as much as what we did last year or the year before. It looks like, the consistency, in this league is the biggest fault with the referees. I mean, as you said, how can they give one thing for us, not give the other thing to Northampton? Every time that whistle blew, you seen him. It just felt like he was always pointing Northampton way. Every single time, there was 50-50s that were happening quite often, and he was giving them to Northampton, and it didn't make a lot of sense. There was always that old rumor that the home team will get decisions like that because of the crowd. Well, there's no crowd there, so.
No.
It didn't really make much sense. Like I say, very inconsistent, a bit clueless. But yeah, I mean, luckily there's nothing happened which is costed a defeat. And I think obviously with that one with a goalkeeper, I think if they'd actually scored from that, then we would have been sitting here and feeling a lot more deflated than what we are.
Yeah,
It
I
would have
agree
been
with that.
absolutely furious by it. So unfortunately now we've got to just live with it because we are League One. That is where we are. That is, the level we're at, and that is the referee, and we're going to get. And if the referees were any good, they'd probably be, pulled up straight to the Championship or the Premier League because even they're struggling with referees. So yeah, that's why we're left with the strike.
Might get a seat at Stockley Park getting VAR all
Yeah,
wrong.
exactly.
So, well, we'll go on into the second half again. I mean, nothing much has happened, but a really, really good chance for Charlie Wag off a corner. It bobbles down to him. He's kind of falling backwards, but manages to scoop it over the bar. I mean, you get when we're not playing well, when teams aren't playing well, the good teams, when you get one chance, it goes in. And this is probably the problem with us. Even though Charlie's done relatively well all season, you need him to score them goals, don't we? Because that was the one chance.
Yeah, I agree. And he was, in his credit, the defender was, making it as difficult as he possibly could. He was kind of all over him, and they were manhandling each other. I'm not suggesting it was a penalty because I don't think it was, but they were proper mixing it up, and he was falling backwards as he stuck his leg out at the ball. Sometimes they go in, and we would have been over the moon. Sometimes they don't, and that one would have been a better rugby conversion than a shot on goal, I think, because it went into Rosette. I think if Rosette exists at Northampton Town.
I don't think they've got a
maybe
Rosette.
a
I think it's F, I think.
But yeah, I mean, like you say, when things are going your way, you win ugly with goals like that. But he's had a go. Can't criticise the lad. Just didn't have the rub of the green on top of the challenges we already talked about.
I was surprised that it was. I thought it was offside or it was a foul or something because it just seemed like everyone stopped and it looked like he had
Yeah.
so much space and then as you say he kind of fell down. I just thought that's been blown up for something. I was really surprised afterwards when it wasn't.
Even the commentary stopped, didn't it? Like the Frankie and Danny even stopped because it was just. I think everyone thought it had been given as foul.
It was a confusing one, wasn't it? But as Malc said, there was stuff going on in that box. He's falling over it. He's getting under it, and he's called Charlie Wake, so we can't really blame him too much.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I say, that's probably it for the whole game. I mean, we're literally struggling to think of anything else, so we might as well go on to the player ratings. As we'll start the new year as how we ended the last year, as me rating Lee Burge, and me probably rating Lee Burge as a 6. I'm basing it on he kept a clean sheet, did everything that was asked of him, which wasn't much, but again, I think he's just looking as if he's our number one goalkeeper now, which I know there's not that much competition in Remy Matthews, but he is doing his job relatively well now, so fair play to him. I've got nothing more to say about that one. We'll go on to Conor Mclaughlin, Niall. I mean, you've spoken off there. I think you've got quite a consistent mark for every player, so we'll start you off with Conor McLaughlin.
I think mine are going to be quite controversial. I might get a bit of stick tomorrow for mine.
You're used to it by now.
That's true. I definitely are. Yeah, I gave Conor McLaughlin a 5. You also said something off air, which I agree with, in the fact that you see him as more of an inside sort of centre half, a right-sided centre half. I agree with that. I think he's better off there as well. I don't believe he's got the pace to play right back. But yeah, I don't think he did too much wrong. I don't think he did too much right. So I'm gonna give him a number 5. He was just solid in the middle.
Yeah, he's just not attacking enough for me for a right back. He's just an attack. But that's not his fault. It's just, he's a defender. So, it is what it is with him. We'll go on to a lad who's not a left back now, but did very well, I thought, Dion Sanderson.
Yeah, Sanderson was one of the better showings today for the team in a difficult and pretty flat game, as we said. He won the ball in the air a fair bit. He's confident on the ball, even though the pitch was a bit bobbly. He's playing out of position. He played a few decent through balls and passes, whereas some of the other lads at the back played too many long balls for me, and they were a bit aimless and inaccurate, So I actually gave Sanderson a 7. I thought he was definitely worthwhile of a 6 as an average performance, but he had a little bit more than the two wide players at the back. So he had a good showing, and I'm hoping that little kind of demonstration of what he can do even when out position gives him a better run of games in the side, because I think he's worth a chance compared to some of the other players we've got in that back four at the minute. Where we put him and what's ideal, I'm not sure. I would have put him right back because I think he has got the pace that Mclaughlin hasn't. But a good showing and a solid 7 for me. You might think that's a bit generous, guys, but I think that's what he deserved.
No. I had him as a 6'7". I'm not going to disagree with it, to be honest. Bailey Wright, again, I mean, my marks might be consistent as well, but I've got a 6 for him. Thought he dealt with their striker Searle relatively well. Won majority of the headers that came his way. Looked steady again. And we'll move on to Tom Flanagan now.
Yeah, I think you'll be surprised by this. I've gone for a 5. I think he was, again, all right. He was... The thing is with Tom Flanagan, I like Flanagan. I think he's versatile. I think he looks like a danger from set pieces as well. And he has scored a few for us, so I do like Tom Flanagan, but I think the day going forward, he never really looked much of a threat, and I think at the back, he did his job. He did it sufficiently. Northampton didn't really have much going forward, so it's hard to kind of say, it was one of them clean sheets where everyone, backs to the wall and everyone's put 100% in, because it wasn't like that. But it was still, for me, Tom Flanagan is just like exactly the same I said about Mclaughlin. He didn't do too much right and didn't do too much wrong either. So yeah, it's just a number 5.
Yeah, and we'll go to Grant Ledbetter, man.
I thought Grant had an okay game. But I don't think he bossed the midfield enough. Games like that where, I think Northampton tactically made a good decision by playing I think they were 3-5-2 or 3-5-1-1, something like that.
They tried to match our midfield.
They tried to flood the midfield so that we couldn't play through with them, with the football that Johnson clearly likes to try and play. And in that situation, I think Ledbetter's got to get either beyond that line of 5 or stay tight to the back 4 and try and boss that midfield and run it a bit better. But we were allowing them to press us too much, especially in the early phases where Northampton looked quite tidy. I gave the man Ledbetter a 6 in the first half, but I only gave him a 5 in the second half because I think he dropped off. I don't know if he's been poorly with the COVID thing. I don't know. So I'll give him a 5.5 if we can do some decimals this week, just to stop Niall from giving everybody 5s. Again, I think he was below his own capability, but we don't know what factors are related to that. So 5.5 for me for Big Grant, and well done to him for goal of the month. By the way, he deserved that by a country mile.
Yeah, congratulations, Grant Ledbetter. Yeah, fantastic. I'm going to join the 5 club here because I've got Josh Scone as a 5, and he nearly got lower, to be honest. I just don't rate Scone that much, I must admit. I know a lot of lads on our WhatsApp group do, but for me, he doesn't do enough he's the attacking part of our midfield. I think in the first half there was a McGee, he put a wonderful cross over, and he just didn't want or
he didn't
had
attack
to,
it, did he?
I didn't even want, or he didn't have the knowledge to attack that. If that had been anybody else, that had been, say, Wyke possibly would have attacked that. And I also thought he was looking to stay on the pitch because he got a yellow card and then gave a free kick away, which was another yellow card offence. It was poor. So I'll give him a 5, and I thought he was looking to stay on the pitch, to be honest. But we'll move on to the now very clean shaven, all over on top, Max Power, Niall.
Yeah, I loved it. What a look! I love that. He looked
hard,
he looked
at least.
Hard as nails. He looked
fresh out of the Borstal, didn't he?
Absolutely hard as nails. I'll never forget, Ant, the first time I met you in person, you actually said to us, "How does Conor Bromley have a brother that looks so hard?" And that was the fact that I had a shaven head.
Did I?
And that was the fact I had a shaven head. So I'm same with him. He just looked nails in there. You'll be shocked by the score I've given him again. It's I think it will turn up a few heads. So I've given him a 5. I thought he was again just average. Again, I want him to get forward more. Just didn't want to make them runs. I don't know. As Malcolm touched on before with Ledbetter, I don't know. We don't know who's had the virus. I don't know if he has, but today he looked leggy. He looked leggy from the off. He wasn't chasing balls down like he normally does. He wasn't getting back as quick. So yeah, he was pretty didn't just non-existent, and for me, apart from the fact he looked like he wanted to kill everybody, that was it really. So yeah, a number 5 for him. But I do like Max Power as a footballer. I think he's a good player, and I like his heart. I think he does, he does put everything into it. So for me, if today with that performance, there's a reason behind it, and I reckon he's just not fit. He's not as fit as what he normally is, and that's what I'll put it down to, because I do think normally he's one of them players that you can tell he's passionate, and he might have bad games, he might have off games, but I would never criticise his work rate, whereas today I am.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll go on to Jack Diamond, Malc. Yeah, looked off to me.
Yeah. What did I give Jack? Bless him. I thought he had a really quiet first half. I think their man marked him out of the game quite well, which is a little bit concerning, because I think that was the same situation, the game against AFC Wimbledon before the COVID break. People are starting to overload one side, knowing that he's going to have a go. And he had a really quiet first half. Second half, before he went off, I thought again, he seems to be taking the ball too static, so that's partially not his fault. He needs to be, fed in behind to break them up. So it's not all down to him. I gave him a 5 in both halves, which is a bad score for young Diamond, because he's a star player on any given day of the week. But I think the combination of the congested midfield and the lack of precision final passes meant that he just didn't get them turned and didn't get them on the back foot. He did a couple of times. He wasn't as lackadaisical as some of the players today. But yeah, not his best showing, so 5 for me.
I think as well, you've got to, with Diamond, because he is still very young and he hasn't played that much football, you've got to expect sometimes these games will happen from him, because it's inexperience, isn't it? But, hopefully he can improve on that one, because he wasn't great.
He was having a go, though, to be fair, and now and again he was having a go.
Fair play.
And we don't want him to stop doing that, because he's, that's what we need out of people like him. We need them to take people on because they can beat them. But yeah, not his best game, but not his worst.
Yeah, I agree. I've gone Aidan McGeady. I want to go 4, but because he did put 3 or 4 really good crosses in, which we didn't have anybody else on the end, I did lift him up to a 5 just before he got subbed off. But I just thought I just didn't think he got into the game as much as what he should have done. But again, we don't know. He missed the Wimbledon game, so we're thinking he possibly is one of the ones who contracted the virus. So, I'll probably let him off with a 5. We'll move on to Charlie Wyke, Mr. Bromley.
I've given him
no guesses.
I've given him a 10. I thought he was
5 for each half.
it was like watching Dennis Bergkamp. It really was. But yeah, so I've given him a 5. Yeah, he missed that golden
chance. Like watching Les Dennis, not man Dennis Bergkamp.
You've thrown us with that. You've totally thrown us off course with that. I'm just thinking Les Dennis playing up front for Sunderland. Aye. No, he was. Yeah, as Malc said, in the air, not enough. Missed the golden chance. It came to him, and I think he thought that it was offside or something as well. It was a little bit of confusion, but he still should be putting them in the back of the net as a forward. His instincts, it should have been a goal. But yeah, he didn't have that much service today. There wasn't anything really today. So yeah, I think it's harsh to give him any lower than the 5, but I certainly wouldn't be giving him any higher. So yeah, it's an average, bang average number 5 for Charlie Wyke.
Yeah, no worries. I'll just quickly rattle off all the substitutions because I've given all of them a 5. Chris Maguire, Lyndon Gooch, Ed O'Brien. Yeah, all 5s. I actually thought O'Brien did a lot better than what he has been doing recently when he came on. So I thought he did a really good run towards the end, but we're saying Aidan O'Brien's in a really good run, pretty sums up his Sunderland career. The other 2 I just don't think affected the game at all, which is what we were hoping for. I will say, and we'll probably get onto this actually with the rate of the manager, I do think the sub should have been made a little bit earlier, but like I say, we'll get onto that. We'll have a quick man of the match from each of you. We'll start with Malc.
I think I would have to give it to young Sanderson. I think he was the most promising player in the back. He got forward when he could. He made less mistakes. I mean, Flanagan hoofed it out straight to touch a couple of times. That really wound me up, or did long balls that were never going to come off. So him and Wright were the strongest defensive players for me. But yeah, I'd give it Sanderson. And like I said earlier, I hope he gets a bit more of a run in the team because he certainly deserves it. And we need to give the lad a chance to see whether he's worth extending his loan or even considering, bringing him on board fully if there's scope to do that in the agreement. But yeah, Sanderson for me, I think he was one of the best on the park.
Yep, no worries. Niall?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, Sanderson. I think he tried to improvise a bit as well, which was nice to see. He had that shot. Yeah, it did go to Roger, as you said, but it was at least he's having a go. He realised that there was no energy, there was no getting forward. It's best off to take the shot on, and there was a couple of changes as well. He tried a couple of crosses into the box as well, which was nice to see. And as Malc touched on earlier, he was strong. He was, he won virtually everything in the air. He was the one sort of half shining bright light today, I think, for Sunderland. And I'd be very surprised if anyone else was to give anyone else the man of the match, because I think he was the only one that showed a bit of promise for us today.
Clean sweep day on Sanderson, like literally what you've all just said. So we'll go on to rate the manager with I've gone for a 5 with him. Just going nice and average. Just the one thing I wish he made his subs earlier, Lee Johnson, but that I've got no more. I kind of, like I said, I just can't criticise it too much because we don't know what's going on. So Niall, have you gone 5 again by any chance?
Well, I mean, I didn't actually rate them during the game because to be honest, I totally forgot about it. So I'm going to change it up just because to make sure it's not a clean sweep of 5. So I'm going to give him a 5. It's a 5. He was just, as you say, you have no idea what's been going on at that club. He's had to play a team that didn't look fit, didn't look match fit, didn't look ready, but still looked organised. So I find it hard to criticise him. But as I say, we have no idea what's gone on behind closed doors. And he's had a lot to deal with. So yeah, it's just a straightforward, straight down the middle, number 5.
Finish it up, Mal.
Yeah. I feel harsh giving him a 5, so I might give him a 6. And the reason I'm shading between the two is we really don't know how bad that squad was with respect to health and readiness for the match. And we're talking about bring the subs on earlier, but who knows, there might have only been the 2 or 3 that we brought on that were actually fit enough to come on, if you know what I mean, because of the potential impacts of the health. For instance, I think the game was crying out for Embleton to come on for Scowen, both to take Scowen out of the danger of a red card, because he was really lucky just on half-time not to go off, as you touched on, and but also so that there's somebody in the middle of the park driving through the static lines that they were putting out. Because, Scowen wasn't doing that very effectively. As we've touched on, Power wasn't either. So I'm going to give him a 6, giving him the benefit of the doubt of what he had to play with. And he might not have been able to put subs on any earlier because half of them probably couldn't breathe properly. But, good luck to them getting better over the next couple of weeks for the next game. And hopefully this is, 2 points out of 6. Fair enough. It could have easily been 0 points out of 6 and it wasn't. So we'll just try and get back on the bus in 10 days' time or whatever it is in the cup games.
Yeah, fair play, and we'll finish that off on that. Very just quickly from all of us here at ROKER Report, we would like to thank every single fan or follower or whatever who has donated or shared the Soup Kitchen fundraiser that we did. We raised 31,635, which
unbelievable.
Is
unbelievable.
Scary, man,
what an effort!
Blown away.
What an effort!
We're blown away by your generosity. Thank you so much. And, we're doing another one this month as well. A few of us have got together. We're going to do the 542 miles to the Stadium of Light at Wembley. Some of us are walking, some of us are running. I'm especially walking at the minute because I broke my foot in December, so I'm trying my best to walk. So we're doing that for the Calm charity. So same again, if you can like or donate, would really, really appreciate that. Yeah, and we will be back, as we touched on, in 10 days' time. So take care of yourselves, stay safe, Happy New Year, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.